Greetings, fellow humans. Bad Mark here with another transmission from Metre Keyboards, and today we're taking a look at a new keyboard from Gamakay. Actually, it's been around for a little bit. Got some wires crossed. I was supposed to get this one, then I got another one, but now I got this one, and I've really been looking forward to this one because this one is a true Gamakay VIA 75% clear polycarbonate keyboard, so it has quite a number of things going for it. Now, Gamakay did send out this keyboard for me for review. They also sent me out these Phoenix silent linear switches. Now, I did a mini review of the HE version of these in the last Gamakay that I reviewed, which is this HE68, I believe. Trying to remember all these model names. I really am. But these are some really nice, decent silent switches, which I will be taking a look at, but I'm going to do a separate review of them all together. This one is a barebone, and I want to do a build to hear the full sound of it, because I think putting the silent switches would kind of diminish that, as they're silent, so they're not going to make much noise. And I still haven't figured out which keycap set I'm going to put on there, but we'll see. We'll figure it out as we go. So for now, let's go ahead and open it up and see what we've got in the box. In the box, we have a really nice USB-A to USB-C cable with, I want to say those are aviator ends, but I haven't seen those before. It's like could be real, but it's probably a faux leather strap. Really nice, and I think I've seen this before in another one of their builds. Can't remember which one right now, but I really like this cable. You don't need the coil. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm good with the coil. The whole connector bit, that's like not. I mean, I have quite a few of those, but I don't use them that often. But these, that's a nice one. It's got a nice connector. It'd be nice if it had some stress relief, but it's a nice presentation and it's a nice cable. We also have, it looks like a utility bag. It looks like we have a hex on one side and a Phillips on the other. We have some extra gaskets, some other type of gaskets. We have a cleaning brush, and we have a switch and keycap puller. Very nice. We also have a short user manual. This is a Gamakay VIA keyboard, but it does have the mappings that are already on there, as well as showing that's the on and off switch, and there's your port. And a nice surprise that we do have an extra plate. We have an aluminum plate. Looks like it has the ability for stabilizers, plate mounted stabilizers, but I do believe it comes stock with a PC plate. So we have our option. PC plate probably going to be a little bit deeper for a build, and the aluminum probably a little bit clackier or livelier. And here we are with the Gamakay SN75 Gamakay VIA keyboard, and I've got to say, she's a looker. Definitely looks like a polycarbonate case. We actually have a very nice looking logo down at the bottom, so it's not gonna like interfere with the look, but it's still there and it still looks nice. We have a pocket for the 2.4 gigahertz dongle right here, and it does appear to be pressure fit. We don't have branding on the dongle, so we're gonna have to make a sticker for that. We'll get to it. We can see that we have a gasket mounted plate, and we have a lot of play, and it does look like it's a gasket top mount. We'll have to take a look. Today we're just going to be sticking with a stock build of this keyboard, but we will come back to it, change out the plate, and see what kind of different sound profile we can get out of it using an aluminum plate. But we already have screw-in stabilizers. I mean, we have a south-facing PCB, screw-in stabilizers. We have the PET layer with the IXPE, or the hi-fi layers, as they've been called. We have a 4-key navigation column. We have a really nice knob, aluminum. It is a D knob. It has a plastic collar on the inside, but it is a nice, I think that's called knurled design. which actually looks quite nice. That gold makes a pop, and it definitely has some flex. We don't have flex cuts, but it's nice to see a kit not only include screw and stabilizer support, but actually already include the screw and stabilizers installed. For the price of this keyboard, this is a, I gotta say, I think it's a pretty good deal. When you think about everything that's involved. I mean, you have QMK VIA, so you're not going to have any issue using this on any operating system. 75% does seem to be the popular layout, as most people can use this. Yes, some people have to get a numpad, but otherwise, if you don't need a numpad and you know how to, use a function layer, this can replace a full-size keyboard, no problem. And you can even, because I'm going to guess there's at least 4 layers, it may have more, but you could actually probably program a layer that you could switch to and convert, the middle of your keyboard, the side of your keyboard, into a makeshift numpad in case you do need to enter some numbers. But we have an extra plate, gasket mounting, what looks like optional top mounting, really nice knob, really good flex. What I think is a really cool transparent case that is, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna have a nice sound signature. So I'm trying to think as to what switches I should use. I mean, part of me wants to use something new and fun, but part of me, because this is a stock build, I kind of just want to stick to something that I think, most people will be familiar with. So I think I'm going to go with a Milky Yellow on this. I think that'll just be an easy and a quick switch that, pretty much everybody's going to be familiar with what that sounds like in different boards. Plus, there's probably more sound tests out there with the Milky Yellow than with anything else, when any other switch, would be my guess anyway. And then we'll find some cherry keycaps. I'm liking the way that this keyboard looks. I'm not usually the biggest fan of transparent, but the way that this one's done, it really feels more like a prototype that just hasn't been colored. And I've done software development, so software prototypes are my forte, but I remember, sometimes working in conjunction with hardware guys and seeing, prototype things, and they were clear. Part of the reason was so that you could see what's going on the inside as well. Like there, we can see that this looks like it's most likely a silicone piece for the bottom there, and it's housing the battery. We also have some rubberized feet, so we're only going to have one angle of typing, but that is some pretty good flex. And I'm going to guess that it has a lot of RGB. Yep, RGB for days. For a second, I was afraid that maybe it was white only because it just booted up with the white. But that going around like that, that shows that it's a very likely a Sonics MCU, or at least a clone of a Sonics MCU. But yeah, if you like RGB, this is definitely going to be one of those keyboards that, because it even has, as you can see, it has the border RGB or the downshine RGB. So it has RGB on actually both sides of the PCB. So it's, yeah, it's got RGB for days. All right, let's go ahead and load up some Gateron Milky Yellow KS3, Milky Yellow Pros KS3s, and they're pre-lubed. I'm gonna go ahead and load those up. Let me find a cherry keycap set to test this out on. Picking which keycap set is always the hardest part because it's transparent. So what do I go with? Any color would technically work on here, but we'll figure something out. So let's go ahead and load up these switches, and we'll get the keycaps, and we'll check out VIA real quick. So I've got to say, this plate is probably one of the plates with the best tolerances on a PC plate that I've ever seen. It's enough for the switch to lock into the plate, but there was no opposition when inserting the switches. Now, usually when I'm dealing with flexy plates like this and flexy keyboards, I have to actually employ one of my spudgers so that I can actually, it acts kind of like a switch fork, if you know what that is. It holds up the plate while I push the switch into place because it's so flexy. But this one, because the plate was not in the way at all, it allowed the switches to go in. I'm probably going to play through me installing the switches just really quick, but you'll notice I pull a couple out because they went in so easy. I thought I had to have bent the pin, but if there was any opposition whatsoever, I didn't even push any harder because I didn't have to push hard, and I could pull up and see that, you know, one of the switch pins was probably a little bit off angle or something, fix it, went right in. This is probably the easiest keyboard. I know I have reviewed hundreds of keyboards, and that's something that, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, all plates have their different tolerances and they'll all work one way or the other, but the fact that this one is, it's kind of like the plate has been designed for it being so flexy, and knowing that, you know, perhaps even it's 1/100th of a millimeter of more space they gave enough space for the switch still to be able to lock onto the plate, but to easily slide on through to the PCB. And that was probably the easiest plate I've ever worked with. I hope that when I come back to it, the aluminum plate has really good tolerances like this as well, because usually aluminum plates, usually they're going to be a little bit tighter, but at the same time, I don't think it'll be as flexy. Let's see what it looks like with the RGBs now that we have the switches in, because they shouldn't impair much of the light at all now. They act more as a diffuser than anything else. If that foam between the plate and the PCB wasn't as opaque as it is, I think we'd see a lot more RGB come up between, you know, where the whole plate is. Like, it was just, but I'll probably try a build without that plate PCB foam and see if it still works just as good. It's that kind of flexy. I should still be able to get it to work. It might just have to get a couple of anchor switches in before I can get the rest of them. But I look forward to coming back to this at some point and really, you know, getting to play with it, because there's been such a move toward the aluminum 75%. So that's, I mean, almost every question. I mean, yeah, I get a lot of questions about which keyboard to get, especially on forums, and by far, I mean, over 50%, they're for 75% aluminum keyboards, whether with a knob, without a knob. But plastic keyboards still have their place. Heck, wooden keyboards still have their place. A lot of people, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the aluminum isn't premium and I don't like it. I love aluminum keyboards, but I also love, I'm a keyboard geek. I love practically all keyboards. I mean, if I don't like a keyboard, that keyboard's done something wrong, son. Anyway, I think that we shouldn't forget that these great, you know, plastic keyboards, especially like this translucent one, which I know for some people that'll be exactly their style and their vibe, because I mean, that's another thing. I mean, RGB, it's just another aesthetic. It's another something that we like. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know that, you know, especially if you program the caps lock indicator, which you can, because this is QMK bias, so you can have caps lock always turn white or red or whatever color you want it to turn whenever it's engaged. But we can, you know, we can actually set up, you know, different colors, like for different layers. I mean, that's getting a little bit advanced in QMK, but all of that can be done. So you can actually, you know, just say, hey, I'm going to set the background color of this one particular color that either matches or highlights the keycap color that you're going to use. So it's kind of like the ultimate customability. I mean, I know when I turn it on, it's just RGB for right now, but you can select individual colors and you can basically make the case color that. I mean, yes, it's not that, it's the RGB shining through, but because it's translucent, it kind of gives you that choice. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that's the way that I look at it. Now let's pick out keycap set, and obviously we're going to have to change the colors to match it just so that I can show you what I mean. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pick out a keycap set, and I'll be right back.
All right, for keycaps, we're going to be using some Ghost Judges keycaps. They're nice sets from KP Republic. They're Doubleshot PBT. come in, I believe, at 1.5 millimeters, and this right here is industrial. So we have the white, the gray, and yellow highlights. So this, I picked this because it's good kitting, and I think to a lot of people it'll sound familiar. I think we'll be able to get a good baseline from this keyboard before we start going in there and doing some mods and having some fun. So let's go ahead and load up these keycaps and we'll get back to it.
So here we are with the built Gamakay SN75. And I've got to say, now, this is by no means the top of the line end game, but I really feel, and I think that my feelings are going to be supported when I come back to this keyboard, take it apart. We'll switch out the plate for the included aluminum plate. But I really think that if someone intends to get into this hobby and intends to, you know, buy more than one keyboard, build a couple of them, you know, find out what they like, and you know, they're gonna spend the time and the money to dive into this hobby. This would probably be, in my opinion, the perfect starter board. Now, if it was QMK, it would truly be perfect. So it's kind of almost there, but I don't know of too many boards in this price range that have VIA and that comes with an extra plate. You know, having an extra plate in a keyboard, especially an off-the-shelf, you know, non-pre-order group buy type keyboard, I think is a huge boost, because it allows somebody, you know, if they're willing to take the time and that's what they want to do, you know, to open it up, to try out taking different foams, putting different foams in, trying the different plates. They can really customize it and find the sound, the feel of what they're looking for with two different plates. Now, I was not able to find FR4 or any other material plates, but I'm gonna guess that if you got the plate, actually I should look, they might have the files on the website. I don't know. If not, I mean, it would be a simple scan and you could create a plate from that if you went to, you know, a local machining shop. Anyway, we have a VIA keyboard that can be configured from any operating system. We have a gasket mounting system, which appears to be both. If I'm not mistaken, you can do both a gasket mount and or a top mount. It has a pocket for the 2.4, though I really wish it was branded. We can put a sticker on there later and make sure that that we always know what it goes to. We've got, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the other, because they have it in white, black, and blue, if I'm not mistaken. But for me, the starter keyboard version would be this one. I mean, granted, not that you couldn't learn with the non-transparent versions, but because it gives you an idea, it lets you see what's going on inside. Like, you know, one person said, and I think rightfully so, we probably need to put a little bit more support under there. But I mean, before you even opening it up, you get a very visceral look at what's going on the inside of the keyboard. And having, you know, something that doesn't have plastic screw holes, because after a couple of times they probably end up stripping, it actually has the metal insert, so we can open and close this many times. We should be safe. I mean, obviously, try not to misthread, but we have a solidly built keyboard. We have the option to change things out. We have the ability to program, and it's, I mean, it just honestly, in my opinion, it is a good, if I was to give somebody, okay, you know, they don't know, you know, little to nothing about mechanical keyboards, but they watched a couple of videos, they're really interested in getting into the hobby, this is the keyboard that I would recommend. It really is a good starter. It'd be perfect if it was a true QMK keyboard, but setting that aside, because I mean, I don't know, only like C programmers are going to want to really get into QMK and start, you know, setting up your own per key RGB and everything. So as far as the mechanics of the keyboard goes, I think that this is a perfect starter keyboard. So anyway, I do hope that you enjoyed my build and review of this Gamakay SN75. Like I said, I've been a big fan of Gamakay. I have numerous LK67s. I've actually built quite a few LK67s for friends. A lot of people actually really love their keyboard, and I know quite a few that still just use it. You know, we touch base every once in a while. They're like, it's funny because especially some of my more long-time friends, you know, that I've known for decades, they'll actually like, oh, look, I bought a new set of keycaps, and this is, you know, like sending me a picture of their keyboard, like, you know, like their adopted pet or something from me. It's just, I don't know, I find it very endearing. But Gamakay is continuing to deliver keyboards that, I mean, like I said, this one, I think if you're getting into the hobby, I would seriously consider taking a look at this keyboard. Right now, it's for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It does appear to be some good sales, but I mean, otherwise, this keyboard is just, it's just, I don't know, it's great. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys with a stock sound test. Again, I put the Gateron Milky yellows in here, but when I come back to it, I'm going to, like I said, I'll do the Phoenix silent switches, but I want to try different switches in here because I think that this is one of those keyboards I think you can mod and really just get it to where you want to go. You want high and clacky, you want deep and thocky, you want somewhere in the middle, you want silent. I think this is going to lend itself to pretty much any one of those sound profiles. And I mean, it really just feels nice to type on. I mean, it's soft, it's not too bouncy. It just has a it's soft yet solid, if that makes sense. But I gotta say, I really like it. I really think this is a good starter board, but that's just my opinion. I do hope that you enjoyed the build. But to everyone out there in YouTube land, I want to wish you a wonderful rest of your day. Until the next transmission, keep calm and keyboard on.